Harley-Davidson dealerships are facing their worst crisis in decades, and it's creating the buying opportunity of a lifetime. Last week, I walked into a Harley dealership in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the very birthplace of the motor company, and what I saw will haunt me forever. Row after row of brand new motorcycles with bright yellow clearance tags, desperate sales managers offering discounts I've never seen before, and the unmistakable smell of financial panic in the air. But here's what made my jaw hit the floor. Sitting in the back corner was a pristine CVO Street Glide with a handwritten sign that read, "Must go, $12,000 off MSRP." That's a $50,000 motorcycle being sold for $38,000. When I asked the sales manager what was happening, his answer was brutally honest. "We're drowning in inventory, and corporate is breathing down our necks to move units before the 2025 models arrive." This isn't just happening in Milwaukee. Over the past month, I've visited 31 Harley dealerships across 12 states, and the story is the same everywhere. Dealers are sitting on millions of dollars worth of motorcycles they simply cannot sell. These aren't old, outdated models gathering dust. We're talking about current year bikes and cutting-edge technology, premium finishes, and that legendary Harley heritage. What's causing this perfect storm? A combination of economic uncertainty, changing rider preferences, and some spectacular miscalculations by Harley's product planners. Models that were supposed to revolutionize the brand have instead become albatrosses around dealers' necks. Bikes that cost hundreds of millions to develop are now being sold at losses just to clear floor space. Here's what makes this situation incredible for riders like you and me. Dealers are offering discounts that would have been unthinkable just 2 years ago. We're talking $5,000, $8,000, even $15,000 off MSRP on bikes that just hit showrooms. Free accessories worth thousands, extended warranties, and financing deals that border on desperation. Today, I'm revealing 7 specific Harley-Davidson models that dealers are practically begging customers to take off their hands. And if you're serious about getting one of these deals, reach out to me directly. I have relationships with motivated dealers across the country who need to move inventory fast. But first, you need to understand exactly which bikes are creating this crisis, because what I discovered will change how you think about Harley-Davidson forever. Let me start with what might be the biggest product disaster in Harley-Davidson's 120-year history. The Street 500 and Street 750 were supposed to be game changers. Affordable entry-level Harleys designed to bring a new generation of riders into the fold. Instead, they've become the motorcycles that dealers literally cannot give away. When Harley announced the Street Series, the strategy seemed brilliant. Create lightweight, affordable bikes with modern liquid-cooled engines to compete with Honda, Yamaha, and Kawasaki in the entry-level market. Price them under $8,000, market them to younger riders, and watch the sales pour in. The reality has been a complete catastrophe. I recently visited a Harley dealer in Phoenix who told me something that will shock you. He has 12 street models sitting on his floor, some dating back to 2019. That's 5 years of unsold inventory taking up valuable space. When I asked why they won't sell, his answer was devastating. They don't sound like Harleys, they don't feel like Harleys, and frankly, they're not built like Harleys either. Here's the brutal truth about these bikes. The Revolution X engines are smooth, efficient, and reliable, but they lack the signature V-twin rumble that defines the Harley experience. Instead of that deep, earth-shaking growl that makes your chest vibrate, the street models produce a muted, almost synthetic sound that leaves riders feeling disconnected from the legendary Harley soul. But the problems go deeper than just sound. Build quality issues have plagued these models from day one. Owners report rattling panels, loose fasteners, and finishes that scratch if you look at them wrong. For a brand built on the promise of rock-solid construction and premium materials, the Street Series feels like a budget bike wearing a Harley badge. The competition has been merciless. Honda's Rebel 500 offers better build quality, more refined engineering, and superior reliability for less money. Yamaha's MT-03 delivers more excitement and better handling. Even Indian's entry-level models provide more authentic cruiser character. The Street Series ended up being too expensive for budget-conscious beginners and too cheap-feeling for riders who wanted a real Harley. Now here's where this disaster becomes your opportunity. Dealers are offering discounts that border on insanity just to clear these bikes out. I'm seeing $2,500 to $3,000 off MSRP, plus dealers are throwing in accessories worth another $1,000. Extended warranties, free maintenance packages, and financing deals with interest rates that would make a bank loan officer weep. A dealer in Texas told me he's willing to sell his remaining street models at cost just to reclaim the floor space. That's a brand new Harley Davidson for Honda Rebel money. If you want an entry-level bike with that bar and shield logo, you'll never find a better deal than right now. But if you think the Street Series was a miscalculation, wait until you hear about Harley's most expensive gamble that turned into their most spectacular failure. What I'm about to tell you sounds like something from a nightmare, but it's happening in Harley dealerships right now. The Livewire, Harley's $30,000 electric motorcycle that was supposed to revolutionize the brand, has become the most expensive mistake in company history. Dealers are offering discounts so deep that they're losing money on every sale just to get these silent machines off their floors. When Harley unveiled the Livewire in 2019, they positioned it as the future of motorcycling, a high-tech electric bike with 105 horsepower, 0 to 60 acceleration in 3 seconds, and enough technology to make a Tesla owner jealous. The marketing campaign was massive, the engineering was impressive, and the expectations were sky high. Then reality hit like a freight train. I spoke with a Harley dealer in California who has 4 Livewires that have been sitting untouched for 18 months. When I asked about sales, his response was heartbreaking. 0 test rides, 0 serious inquiries, and 0 hope of moving them at anywhere near MSRP. He's now offering $10,000 off the original price. Plus he'll throw in a level 2 charging station installation worth $2,000. Here's what killed the Livewire before it ever had a chance. Harley riders don't just buy motorcycles, they buy an experience. They want to feel the rumble of a V-twin engine through their bones. They want to hear that distinctive potato-potato exhaust note that announces their arrival from 3 blocks away. They want the mechanical symphony of gears shifting and pistons firing. The Livewire offers none of that. Instead, it's completely silent. No engine noise, no gear changes, just instant torques and an eerie whooshing sound that makes it feel more like a high-tech appliance than a motorcycle. For riders whose identity is built around the raw, mechanical soul of internal combustion, the Livewire feels like a betrayal of everything Harley represents. Then there's the practical nightmare of electric motorcycle ownership. The Livewire's range drops to just 70 miles on the highway, making long-distance touring impossible. Charging infrastructure is spotty at best, and even with fast charging, you're looking at 40 minutes to reach 80% capacity. Try explaining to a group of Harley riders that they need to stop for nearly an hour every 70 miles to plug their bikes into a wall. The price made everything worse. At $29,799, the Livewire costs more than most of Harley's premium touring bikes. Riders could buy a fully loaded Street Glide with decades of proven reliability, or they could gamble on an electric experiment with questionable resale value and limited practicality. But here's where this disaster becomes an incredible opportunity for forward-thinking buyers. The technology in the Livewire is genuinely impressive. That permanent magnet motor delivers instant torque that will pin you to the seat. The electronics package includes lean-sensitive traction control, multiple riding modes, and a sophisticated regenerative braking system. The build quality is actually excellent, with premium components throughout. Dealers are now offering discounts that make the Livewire almost affordable. I'm seeing $8,000 to $12,000 off MSRP. Plus, dealers are including charging equipment and extended warranties. If you want to own a piece of motorcycle history and don't mind the limitations of electric power, you'll never find a better deal on cutting-edge technology. But the Livewire's failure pales in comparison to our next bike, a muscle cruiser that was supposed to dominate the streets, but instead became a cautionary tale about form over function. Here's a story that perfectly illustrates how Harley's designers can create something that looks incredible on paper, but fails miserably in the real world. The FXDR 114 was supposed to be the ultimate muscle cruiser, a drag-inspired beast that combined aggressive styling with serious performance. Instead, it became a bike that dealers are selling at cost just to reclaim valuable floor space. When Harley unveiled the FXDR, the marketing was all about attitude and aggression. they showed it launching off the line like a dragster, carving corners like a sport bike, and looking mean enough to scare small children. The Milwaukee 8114 engine delivered 119 pound-feet of torque. The aluminum swing arm and lightweight bodywork promised sharp handling, and that massive 240mm rear tire screamed performance. The reality was completely different. I recently spoke with a dealer in Texas who has 6 FXDR models that have been marked down to cost. When I asked what went wrong, his explanation was brutal. The bike looks fast standing still, but it's a nightmare to actually ride for more than 20 minutes. Here's the fundamental problem with the FXDR. Harley's designers prioritize looks over ergonomics, creating a riding position that's pure torture for anyone planning to actually use the bike. The low, stretched-out stance puts enormous strain on your back and wrists. The forward foot controls force you into an awkward position that becomes unbearable on longer rides. Even the seat, while visually striking, offers about as much comfort as a park bench. But the handling issues are even worse. That massive 240mm rear tire that looks so aggressive actually makes the bike handle like a shopping cart with a broken wheel. Cornering becomes a wrestling match, and the bike feels unstable and unpredictable in tight turns. For a motorcycle marketed as a performance machine, the FXDR handles worse than most touring bikes. The competition made everything worse. Indian Scout Bobber offered better handling, more comfort, and genuine performance for less money. Yamaha's V-Max delivered more power and better straight-line performance. Even Harley's own Lowrider S provided a better balance of comfort and capability. The FXDR ended up being all show and no-go. Now dealers are desperate to move these bikes before they become completely worthless. I'm seeing discounts of $4,000 to $6,000 off MSRP on discontinued models. Some dealers are throwing in exhaust systems, performance upgrades, and extended warranties just to sweeten the deal. If you want that Milwaukee 8114 engine and can tolerate the ergonomic compromises, you can get serious power at bargain prices. But if you think a muscle cruiser missing the mark was bad, wait until you hear about Harley's most ambitious gamble that turned into their most expensive lesson in market research. This next story will make you question everything about corporate decision-making. Harley-Davidson, a company built on heavyweight cruisers and touring bikes, decided to enter the adventure motorcycle market with zero experience, limited credibility, and a bike that cost hundreds of millions to develop. The result? Dealers are offering massive discounts on Pan Americas, while BMW GS models fly off showroom floors. When Harley announced the Pan America, industry experts were skeptical from day one. Adventure riders are incredibly loyal to brands like BMW, KTM, and Honda, companies that have spent decades perfecting off-road capable motorcycles. Harley was asking riders to trust their most demanding adventures to a company known for chrome cruisers and weekend touring. The engineering was actually impressive. The Revolution Max 1250 engine delivered 150 horsepower and genuine performance. The adaptive ride height system was innovative, automatically lowering the seat when you came to a stop. The electronics package included multiple riding modes, cornering ABS, and traction control systems that rivaled the best in the industry. But then the first bikes hit the streets, and problems started surfacing immediately. I spoke with a dealer in Colorado who told me something that perfectly captures this disaster. He's had 4 Pan Americas on his floor for over a year, while he can't keep BMW R1250 GS models in stock for more than a week. Early buyers reported electronic glitches that left them stranded. The touchscreen display would freeze or go blank at random moments. The adaptive suspension system would malfunction, leaving riders with a bike that felt broken and unpredictable. These weren't minor annoyances. These were reliability issues that could ruin a multi-day adventure trip. The market rejection was swift and brutal. Adventure riders want proven reliability above everything else. When you're 200 miles from the nearest town on a dirt road in Utah, you need absolute confidence in your motorcycle. Harley's reputation for electrical problems and their complete lack of adventure bike experience made the Pan America a tough sell from the beginning. Competition made everything worse. For similar money, riders could get a BMW R1250 GS with decades of proven reliability and a global dealer network. KTM offered more off-road capability and lighter weight. Honda's Africa Twin provided better value and legendary durability. The Pan America had to be significantly better than established competitors to succeed, and it simply wasn't. Now, dealers are offering discounts that border on desperation. I'm seeing $3,000 to $5,000 off MSRP. Plus, dealers are including crash protection, luggage systems, and extended warranties worth thousands more. If you're willing to be an early adopter and can tolerate some electronic quirks, you can get advanced adventure bike technology at significant savings. But if you want to see how badly Harley can misread their own market, wait until you hear about the bike that was supposed to revive the Sportster legacy, but instead confused everyone who looked at it. Here's a perfect example of how Harley can take a legendary name and completely destroy its legacy in one product cycle. The Nightster was supposed to be the modern revival of the classic Sportster, bringing that rebellious spirit into the 21st century. Instead, it became a bike that satisfies absolutely no one and sits in dealerships gathering dust, while dealers offer desperate discounts. When Harley announced the Nightster, expectations were sky high. The Sportster name carries decades of history and street credibility. This was supposed to be the bike that would attract younger riders while keeping longtime fans happy. The Revolution Max 975 engine promised modern performance, and the minimalist styling looked appropriately rebellious. The reality has been a complete disaster. I recently visited a dealer in Michigan who has had the same 3 Nightsters on his floor for 8 months. When I asked why they won't sell, his answer was devastating. Traditional Harley fans hate the smooth, high-revving engine that sounds nothing like a classic Sportster. Younger riders find the styling too conservative and the performance underwhelming compared to modern alternatives. Here's what killed the Nightster. That Revolution Max engine, while technically superior, lacks the raw character that made Sportsters legendary. Instead of the lumpy, aggressive idle and distinctive exhaust note, you get a refined, almost sanitized riding experience. It's like ordering a whiskey and getting sparkling water instead. The ergonomics are equally problematic. The mid-mount foot controls and low handlebars create a cramped riding position that becomes torture on longer rides. Taller riders feel like they're riding a children's toy, while even average height riders report back pain and wrist strain after just an hour in the saddle. Now, dealers are offering $2,500 to $3,500 off MSRP just to move these bikes. Some are throwing in exhaust systems to try to give them more character. If you want modern Sportster performance at classic Sportster prices, this might be your chance. This next story proves that sometimes being ahead of your time is the worst possible thing for sales. The V-Rod was Harley's most ambitious engineering project ever, featuring a liquid-cooled engine co-developed with Porsche and performance that embarrassed most sport bikes. It should have been a massive success. Instead, it became a 15-year experiment that dealers are still trying to unload. The V-Rod's Revolution engine was genuinely revolutionary. 120 horsepower from a liquid-cooled 60-degree V-twin that could rev to the moon and back. The aluminum frame and aggressive styling made it look like nothing else in Harley's lineup. Performance numbers were incredible. 0 to 60 in under 3.5 seconds and a top speed that would make sport bike riders nervous. But here's what Harley completely missed. Their customers didn't want a high-tech performance machine. They wanted the rumbling, shaking mechanical experience that defines Harley ownership. The V-Rod was too smooth, too refined, and too different from everything that made Harley special. I spoke with a dealer in Florida who told me something incredible. He still has 2017 V-Rods sitting in crates, never assembled, taking up storage space. He's offering them at prices that would have been unthinkable when they were in production. We're talking about $5,000 to $7,000 off original MSRP on bikes that are technically brand new. The V-Rod also suffered from practical problems. That tiny 3.7-gallon fuel tank meant constant gas stops. Customization options were limited compared to other Harleys, and the high-revving engine character felt more like a sport bike than a cruiser, confusing potential buyers about what the bike was supposed to be. Now that production has ended, these bikes might become collectibles, but right now, dealers just want them gone. If you appreciate unique engineering and don't mind owning something different, you can get Porsche-developed technology at fire sale prices. What I'm about to tell you represents the ultimate example of Harley's disconnect from market reality. The CVO Street Glide is supposed to be the pinnacle of touring luxury, the absolute best that Harley can build. At $50,000, it costs more than many cars, and right now, dealers are selling them at massive losses just to clear floor space. The CVO Street Glide has everything you could possibly want in a touring bike. Milwaukee 8 1.2, one engine with 139 pound-feet of torque, premium paint that takes weeks to apply, a massive touchscreen with every electronic feature imaginable, Rockford Fosgate audio that rivals home theater systems, custom wheels, premium chrome, and exclusivity that money can't usually buy. Here's the problem. For $50,000, you can buy a Street Glide Special and have $20,000 left over for accessories, modifications, and several years of motorcycle payments. The CVO version gives you marginally better components and fancier paint for twice the price. Most riders simply can't justify the premium. I recently visited a dealer in Milwaukee who told me something that perfectly captures this disaster. He has 3 CVO Street Glides that have been on his floor for over a year. He's now offering $12,000 to $15,000 off MSRP, plus he'll include touring accessories and extended warranties. That's still a $35,000 motorcycle, but it represents incredible value for someone who wants the absolute best. The resale value makes everything worse. CVO models depreciate faster than regular Harleys because the market for $50,000 touring bikes is incredibly small. Buyers know they'll lose massive amounts of money the moment they ride off the lot. But here's the opportunity. If you want the ultimate Harley touring experience and can afford the premium, you'll never find better deals than right now. Dealers need these bikes gone before 2025 models arrive, and they're willing to take massive losses to make it happen. If you're serious about getting any of these deals, reach out to me directly. I have relationships with dealers across the country who are motivated to move inventory, and I can help you negotiate even deeper discounts than what's advertised.